The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. A North American staple on every road racing calendar lies in northern upstate New York. In the Finger Lakes region lies the Watkins Glen International Raceway. Say no more, a track that everybody knows and loves down to the millimeter. Everybody knows how to get around this racetrack, and that usually leads to one of the most exciting races on any calendar. We expect nothing but exactly that here on the evening as we enjoy the Red Sox Racing League here as they head to the Finger Lakes region for race number 3 on tonight's calendar. Of course, tonight, everybody, welcome to PTR TV. Going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth for race number 3 of the fall season 4 in the Red Sox Racing League here in 2023. Aforementioned, myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck here on the evening, ready to give you the calls here for the 35-minute affair here. So with 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, we do have on circuit right now our LMP3 class turning their laps here as we are in the boot configuration here of Watkins Glen. If memory does serve, I believe we did run here last season. However, I believe we ran the cup layout, but again, I will need a statistician to back that one up here. So adding the boot does add some passing zones, and of course with passing zones does lead to mistake opportunities here. But you can see coming to the heel of the boot here, this is Andrew Lunsford. You can see a little bit wiggle there on the brakes and then went wide there. So luckily he was able to get himself gathered up here, then back onto the chute, the backstretch here. That is a very difficult portion of the racetrack here, but let's temporarily bring up the ticker here so you can see where your favorite driver may be starting here. And thus far, I mean, very, very rarely do we ever say this, Ryan Robertson not on the top of the board there. So let's see what Lunsford can do if he can best his already pole sitting time here in class. You can see there Robert Barros, memory serves, I believe he won last week. Again, I just can't remember what I ate for breakfast last week, but he's up by half a second there for the GT4 class over Griffin and Dahl here on the evening. But for our LMP3s, we got to look to that number 3 spot. Ross Booth, a name we haven't seen at all recently, at least from what I remember, but there he is, someone that always gives Ryan Robertson a challenge, so that is something I think he's going to be looking forward to here. We don't have we do not have Mitch Heller here in class, so having Ross Booth there will definitely keep things spicy at that top of that leaderboard. And then we go back to Mark Wilson, and remind you, he is a second off the pace in class, but he almost won a race here last season. Maybe 2 seasons ago, and my dates are absolutely terrible, but I do remember there was a really good race here at Watkins Glen, and Mark Wilson very nearly won it in class, but it was a mistake of some capacity. I think it was in the pits that took him out of contention, so a track that he certainly has a comfort level at here. So Robertson did close in on the stopwatch to within 5/100ths, but that lap won't do you any justice there, exiting the boot section. Again, I talked about that being a very difficult portion of the track. Well, he just proved me accurate on that statement there, Roger Rios-Mateos there. So now the timer is down to 0, so they have their cool down lap, so any live lap here still applicable for the stopwatch here. I don't think this lap for Rios-Mateos will meet the mark there. Let's see. I don't think Ross Booth's lap, he did improve, but not enough. So let's just go talk about some other things here that we do have here on the evening. Again, race number 3 of 6, our next set of races for the second half of the season, headed into Mossport, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park next week. Road Atlanta, a series staple, and Montreal will wrap things up. I believe we may have been there once. I don't remember what the configuration was. I believe it was back in the TCR era, so good way to wrap that up. Basically a North American season here, less the first race, of course, which was in Italy at Monza. I do have our point standings from verbally to discuss. We do not have the graphics here, but Andrew Lunsford up by 4 points over Thomas Wolfe in our LMP3 class, and then you have 8 points back tied for third, Miran Pietri and Rios Mateus. Terry Dahl, using some bonus points to his advantage, is leading the GT4 class by 2 points over Robert Barros, who did score a win here on the season. Dennis Griffin in third. It will be interesting to see how that class does shake out. Of course, remember race number 1 at Monza, we did have Ryan Robertson running in that class, and he switched classes. So he still will be eligible for the championship because remember, this series does have the drop week. So he will still be eligible to run in the championship there. So as I said, winning a race in each class and winning a championship, that would be a feat to be had. But he will, so of course I will not know how that shakes out, but I'd have to imagine he is probably going to be top of the board there in LMP3 once you account for that. But we'll see if Lunsford can give him that competition. Last week's race, he really did give him some competition. Lunsford did. He ran out of laps at the very end. The pit stop did shake things up, but ultimately it did give Robertson the win, but it was not an easy race, and I do not expect this one to be easy either. But now these guys are done with their session. They are done with their qualification and headed down trackside. So let's go ahead and give it to you. The PTR TV starting lineup here today from the Watkins Glen International Raceway. Starting today's race from the front row in LMP3, going to be Andrew Lunsford with a 140 flat. Starting in P2, of course, Ryan Robertson. We'll see if he can keep that perfect streak alive. Row number 2 finds Ross Booth there. Again, just off the time there on the front row. Not a bad lap at all. Rios Mateus, 0.6 of a second back there in the 4th spot. Les Turner going to be in 5th, and then Mark Wilson, just talked about him not too long ago with his efforts here a few seasons ago. He's going to be 6th in class, and then we have one more who did qualify, Miran Pietri, and now we will start off with the GT4 grid. We do have Robert Barros there in the Lightning McQueen mobile. He's going to be leading this one for that class with Dennis Griffin to his outside. Terry Dahl going to be in 3rd in that number 53, and then the 69 of Andrew Humphrey next to him. Joseph Cherry going to be 5th in class with Kevin Kyle in 6th. 7th spot in class is going to be Dwayne McCarthy. Then we have Bill Paulucky and Scott Husted 8th and 9th. James Prostel Jr. going to be 10th in class, and now we have, I believe, some stragglers from the LMPs who did not qualify. Matt Hurley, Wolf, and Brian Irby did not qualify in their appropriate classes, so that will kind of skew off our grid lineup there. But we will have a full pace lap here, as indicative by the fact that we were at the start-finish line rather than on the back straightaway here, so we'll have a little bit of time before we throw our green flag in the air here on the evening. Let's go over our weather conditions here from virtual Watkins Glen. 77 in the air with an 87-degree track temp, 6 o'clock sim time, and some clouds here in the sky, so that should cool off the track, and it's not as hot as it could be here, so some grip should be on offer. As we start our pace lap here, we have our standard 15 or so. I haven't got any definitives, nor did I read the pre-race PDF there. Sorry, Les, but I'm going to go on the presumption, as usual, that it is a 15-second buffer in between classes here. You can now see the GT3's Lightning McQueen is going to be leading them down there. Again, Terry Dahl just behind. Terry Dahl pretty quick here in practice, so still looking for his first ever win here on stream. Nearly got it a few times, but he did have a little bit of confidence coming in here today, so we'll see how that does shake out. But again, the format here, we have the LMP3s and the GT4s that will be encompassing our race here this evening with the 35 minutes to force pit stop. So I've seen drivers such as Mark Kudrowski, who we do not have tonight. He would be the pinnacle driver to always pit as soon as physically possible. Then you have guys that will pit as late as possible here. So typically most guys will come in between the 20-25 minute mark. They do have a fast repair if indeed they choose to use it here. But now we will come through the carousel here, and rather than shortcut the boot, we are going to be using the boot here. So they're going to exit that. Carousel is going to have a nice wide exit here as they funnel themselves into the left-hander, down into the boot. A little bit of banking here on this left-hander. And then you set yourself up back to the left side of the track, and the right-hander here that leads you down to the heel of the boot. And this corner was a lot worse on the old pavement here, where you had a little bit of concrete and it was really hard to find out where to run. But now that we have the updated pavement, a lot easier of a corner, but it is kind of uphill with a little bit of banking to it, so can still throw some drivers off. And then you head downhill here into the sharp right-hander. This is a good passing opportunity here at Watkins Glen International. Downhill right-hander that sets you up to head back into the shoe. So if you don't clear the pass here, you are on the opposite side of the track for this very difficult left-hander. It's uphill. There's some undulations. There's some bumps. You're kind of going through some transitions of pavement. So this left-hander very akin to the transition turn at Daytona, which many drivers have issues in. So we saw Ryan Robertson spinning out there. You can see the grass marks there at the top of the shot here. But race number 3 of the Red Sox Racing League is soon to be underway. Once we head through the final corner here, the pace car will turn the hard right into pit lane, and we will let Barney the flagman get us underway and wave the green flag for our LMP3s. Get your drink, get your snack. And here we are on PTR TV for a night of fun. Barney has the flag in hand. He has it. He has it. Let's get it waving. There it goes. We're racing here at the Glen. Lunsford's going to lead him on down into turn number 1. Let's see if Robertson there. You can see in the team car. Is he going to fight it? Nope. He's going to fall back in line. And that way Ross Booth can't take advantage of it here. But Robertson, he's going to kind of bump draft per se, heading up the hill here. Now, is he going to make an optimistic move into turn number, or rather into the bus stop here? I don't know the number. He's going to look to the right side of the track, look to the left. Ross Booth, he's trying to figure out if he wants to take a stab at it here. He's going to drop back into line, but let's go take a look at our GT4s heading down into turn number 1. Robert Barros there. He'll clear Dennis Griffin. And then Terry Dahl will solidify into that 3rd spot with Andrew Humphrey there in 4th. So everybody's seeming to get themselves situated here cleanly here at the Glen here on lap number 1. You can see the back of the pack here. We have Thomas Wolfe and Matt Hurley, who are well behind the LMP pace there. Les Turner starting the race from in the pits. Not sure what is going on there. Perhaps we'll find out later on in the race. But yeah, so we do have some shake-up there with Turner, Hurley, and Wolfe all starting well behind there. I don't think they made the grid, but Lunsford is going to be our leader here. Ross Booth did get into 2nd, as Ryan Robertson did have an issue of some sort. So let's try to quickly scoot back here through the replay here. Oh, there it is. So we kind of cut the camera here right into the bus stop. I didn't think anything would happen, but clearly something did. You can see Robertson, over the curb, a little overly ambitious there with the curb. And that was a pretty hard lick there into the safer barrier there in the chicane. So he's going to come into the pits here, presumably do his fast repair, and then try to see what he can salvage. Because remember, he basically is committed to the championship in this class, and race number 1 was his drop week, so he can't spare this race. He has to make the most of this race, as somebody else in the pits too. Oh, and then he missed his pit stall for Booth. Yep, there's his fast repair. He will keep going. And Les Turner, he also had some issues as well, so not too sure what is going on here with everybody. A rough start to the festivities here at the Glen for these guys. Back to live action, and you can see on the top of the grid here that we do have a good battle for the LMP lead. Robert Barrows has pulled away quite handily there over his competition in GT4, but here comes Ross Booth in the boot there. He tried to take a look, but not happening there. Very quickly gonna try and see what happened to Les Turner if I can, because he obviously had some serious issues there. So let me just try to spend a little bit of time going through that here. Yep, there it is. He had some problems in the bus stop as well. Seems those LMPs do not like the bus stop here. The curbs particularly. Oh, that was right in front of him. Whoa, Marin Pietri, I believe that was. Nope, it wasn't. It was Rios Mateus that was, excuse me. Let's take a look here from a different camera. So there goes Robertson, and then yeah, Rios Mateus had issues there, the rear of his car, and then there went Les Turner there, and you can see the debris just flying in the air quite radically there. They will now exit the pits here, but let's go back to live action, the front of the pack here. Best battle for the track. No! Ross Booth, we caught that one live. His car decimates there in the bus stop. These guys have to learn that these LMPs do not like they do not like curbs. These guys got to learn this. Here we go. Let's go on board with Ross Booth. So in a stock car, a GT4, you can hop the curbs, but these things are a millimeter off the ground. So you hop the curb, literally you don't have any contact with the pavement there. And that just sends that car hard into that tire barrier. Well, that safer barrier, mind you. So now Andrew Lunsford, I mean, he's got this thing under a cakewalk now. Marin Pietri in second. Now let's go focus on our GT4 battles, or lack thereof, really, because Robert Barrows, Lightning McQueen, he is speed here on the evening. Currently up by a second and a half over Dennis Griffin. Then we get Terry Dahl, top three all well solidified there. Humphrey's starting to close in on Dahl for that bottom end of the podium spot there. But very, very rare to see here in the Red Sox Racing League. Both Robertson and Booth making self-inflicted mistakes. Again, you can see Lunsford now. Let's see as he comes through the bus stop this time by. What is he going to do? Is he going to do anything differently, knowing what has happened to his two biggest nope, he's going to attack the curb still, but Marin Pietri here, I think he just lost a spot to Matt Hurley. Hurley was one who started really far back in the race, but due to the attrition that we've had, has been able to take advantage of the situations and get himself up to the front. Now 5 seconds is not that much time in the grand scheme of things, so I mean really we can't count him out of this thing, being completely honest. We could see Matt Hurley. We'll have to compare the lap times here, but Andrew Lunsford, definitely a fast driver, so would not expect him to roll over and play dead, but definitely a fair probability that we could see Hurley make something happen, particularly once pit stops cease. So not the way that I expected this one to go down. I thought we were going to have a trio lead us down to the checkers here tonight. I thought that was going to be a phenomenal trio race between Lunsford, Booth, and Robertson there, but all for naught. Now Robertson back 39 seconds. Mark Wilson will be his nearest competitor, who is, he's got 30 plus seconds to make up now. With the pace that Robertson usually has, it's plausible, though I wouldn't quite call it probable here. So going back to GT4, you can see Kevin Kyle here closing in on, that's Joseph Cherry. Battle of the Mercedes there and the boot. And then just behind that, you have Dwayne McCarthy and Scott Husted there. You have Mercedes happy here for the GT4 guys here on the evening. Of course, up front, we got Lightning McQueen on a Porsche. Then we got the Aston Martin of Dennis Griffin, and then the Mercedes of Terry Dahl, and then we get to go all the way back to Mercedes, and then we go back to Bill Lucky, who breaks the Mercedes train with his McLaren, and then one more Porsche in the form of James Prostel Jr., who is leading up the rear here for the GT4 lineup. So I'm not sure if they just all like the McLaren that much, or even though they do the BOP here, the balance of performance, to try to make each individual car as close as possible. A lot of times there is a preferred make here, as we do have some first class interaction here on the evening. You can see Lunsford and I think that was Thomas Wolfe perhaps making some passes here, but there always is one car per track that tends to kind of outshine the rest, whether it be because of cornering performance, whether it be because of straight line speed, or maybe it's better of a drafting car. I mean, there's always different, different characteristics here, and there is no rule in the league that says you have to keep in the same car, so you can make those adjustments as you do see fit here. As Ross Booth, he is working his way quite quickly through the GT4s, and you can see there on the ticker he is about to pass Robert Barros in a short amount of time, and that will put him to the back end. He will have siphoned himself through the GT4s to the end of the LMP lineup there, but now he's going to have, what is it? Let's check out on his statistics here. Pull up the graphic. He has 54 seconds to his next position in the form of Ryan Robertson there, so 54 seconds. He didn't get back to the pits nearly as quickly as Robertson did. They both had a similar incident, but he just did not get back to the pits nearly as quickly. And of course, for both Robertson and Booth, and then even Les Turner there, who is back on track as well. All these drivers will still need to make one more pit stop. Their races are not over because they made those stops. They do have to make one more. You're not going to make it that far back. Here comes Matt Hurley, who is closing in. He got that gap down to 2.5 seconds, but now he is getting through the GT4 traffic there. Getting by, couldn't quite make out who that was. I want to say it was Dwayne McCarthy. Yes, it was. So now Lunsford getting through the traffic here, getting by Dennis Griffin here in the S's. And let's try to see how Hurley is doing. Traffic, it's kind of karma sometimes. You get what you deserve. You get, what you get sometimes comes back to bite you. So you may gain 2-3 seconds. Oh, I think turnaround is fair play. That's the quote I was looking to disperse there. Turnaround is fair play, so what comes to you usually ends up getting reciprocated. So if you gain 2-3 seconds because of traffic, Terry Dahl got hit there, and he's hard into the wall. Very, very destructive race here at Watkins Glen as Dahl's trying to find a safe spot on the track to rejoin here. Let's take a look at what happened to him. Try to get a higher perspective. Maybe we'll go with this camera. I'll see if this works for us. Oh, that was just a hard hit there. It's almost, I think that was, let's just take a look here. One more time. Who was that? Let's try, trying to get a better look. 804, that was Thomas Wolfe. Now let's go up from the blimp cam if we can. I think a tree is going to be in the way. Of course it is, because we'll use this camera. I don't usually like using it because it's a little bit fake looking, but it'll do us justice here. I think that was kind of a spatial awareness, or he thought he was already clear. See, exiting the carousel. Yeah, he probably just presumed he was clear there. But clearly, he was not. And unfortunately for Terry Dahl, that will cause him to lose that third position in class. He was, the points leader going in will very likely not be the points leader exiting the affair here. So now 1-2 in LMP have cleared all of the slower traffic for the time being, so we can see pace to pace who is running what. We'll pull up the lap times on the ticker. Last time by a half second to the benefit of Lunsford there, but we'll see with clean real estate for each driver if that does stand true. Then down there in the in the GT4 class, Humphrey 0.3 of a second faster than Barrows, but the problem is he has a gap of 5 seconds he needs to eat up, so that is not always as easy. Well, it's never easy, so there's not even really a way to say that in a different light. It's not easy to gain 5-6 seconds. With pit stops, it's potential. If you're taking the best amount of fuel, if you're really good getting into your stall, getting out of your stall. I do see some more smoke. I don't have any triggers of anything that may or may not have happened. So we all continue on here. See any battles on track that may or may not be forming. This is the closest little trio on track. You have Kevin Kyle, then you got Joseph Cherry. They are 4th and 5th in the GT4 class, with Dwayne McCarthy just behind there. Hurley not gaining time. Last time by, he was actually 1 second slower than Lunsford there, so that is on pure pace alone. So clearly not going to be a winning effort here, but again, mistakes are possible here. Watkins on the front straightaway. You saw even with Ryan Robertson in the pits there that he overshot his box. The pits here are heavily downhill, especially for those who are pitted, those who qualified top of the grid. They're going to be pitted far into turn 1, and that is steeply downhill, so it is very easy to overshoot your pit box there. So it is possible to make mistakes here at Watkins Glen, but when you do have a big lead, such as what a Barrows has, such as what a Lunsford has, you don't need to push to the limit. You can spare maybe losing a little bit of time in the pits just for the conservative nature, because you know that you have the lead to fall back on here. But 5+ seconds here as that's Dennis Griffin getting surpassed by an LMP. I think that may be Ryan Robertson. It is. Robertson did get around and up to the 6th spot here, so that should help his causes out. But the next position, I can't remember what it was before, but I can tell you that he is only now 21 seconds behind Mark Wilson, so he is eating into that gap, but not as quickly as you may think, maybe about a couple tenths a lap. Again, Watkins Glen, a track that everybody typically has a good amount of experience at, a good amount of comfort at. So it's not as straightforward to gain time. You go to a Nürburgring, a Monza, or maybe not so much a Monza, but more complex layouts, more technical layouts. You will gain more time per lap because there is a bigger skill delta between drivers. But here at Watkins Glen, again, a track that everybody knows in and out. You have a lot of NASCAR, you have a lot of stock car guys in this league, as I've recently found out. And of course, they're going to know this place inside and out from the fact that it's one of the 2 main road courses NASCAR has visited forever. Of course, they have stretched the road courses out here over the past 5 or so years, but for 20+ years, every single game you've ever played, Sonoma, Watkins Glen. So you know this track when you And it just becomes a track that everyone tends to bring their game to because of the fact that they have that confidence here. But we may have a battle shaping up for second in that class. We thought about maybe Hurley was going to make a move towards the front, but he's dropped back now 8 seconds back into the clutches of Thomas Wolf. Remember, Wolf just involved in that little mistake there that sent Terry Dahl off into the barrier here. He's drafting down that back straightaway here. You got to get back into line so you got a good corner entry. Can't enter the bus stop down there from that line, so Hurley had to make sure he kind of got himself back into a good opportunity there as they head into the boot. Now let's see what happens here heading into this sharp right-hander. Got about 1,000 different ways you can take this corner. The uphill right-hander that feeds you down the hill and to the heel of the boot here, the right-hander. This is a really good passing opportunity, though I think he's going to be a little bit too far back for it. Is Wolf, and look at the braking difference there. He really had to stab the binders there to avoid Hurley, and that put him out into the dirt there, and that cost him a few tenths of a second. But now Hurley's going to go wide, and that's going to eat up that entire gap and then some. So now Wolf thought he had position, not enough, but basically we just exchanged 3 tenths of a second via each driver there, and we net out to the exact distance we just were. Next closest battle, again, still watching the back here of GT4, because these guys, maybe they don't go for the win every week, but they still put on a good show. Huston, McCarthy, Cherry, Kyle, Paul Lucky, usually up with these guys, but he has lost touch. And the closest battles that we do have on track, about roughly 4th to 8th. I'll throw Kevin Kyle in that bundle as well. Up, here we go. Battle for the position. McCarthy underneath Cherry. And it looks like he's going to bring Huston with him here. They're going to go back up. We've seen many drivers have issues here exiting the boot. Let's see if everybody gets through nice and cleanly. And they will. So move McCarthy up to 5th in class. Still watching that battle for 2nd in LMP here, as now we are within 20 minutes into the session. So pit stops should be right around the corner for just about everybody. Dude, going very wide there in that corner, and that with that grass cutting up, that's a very dangerous move. We've seen how the grass and the curbs have treated drivers today, and you still see people really pushing the envelope here. I mean, with the curbs the way they are in these LMPs, I cannot believe these guys are still being so aggressive with them. I mean, they got either they don't learn or they got some confidence. I don't know which one it is here. You can see Hurley kind of breaking the slipstream here down the front straightaway. I think Wolf is gonna, he's letting him go. That's what it was. I thought he was trying to run a defensive line there. He went a little bit wide exiting 1. Can't go too wide there because you will get the 1X. And if you get 6 of them, you do start to lose points here in the league. Ross Booth, of note, has taken it behind the wall here on the evening. So again, after that early lap faux pas there, he realized he's going to get all he can get, and he is just going to pack it up and get the car ready for next week's race at Montreal. Get the passport ready because he'll have to cross the border here in next week's affair. Joseph Cherry, first one to pit. I think he was 5th, 6th or so in the GT4 class. First one to draw blood. Still waiting. Well, actually, we've had Mark Wilson come in the pits here as we pull up the stint graphic here on the ticker. You can see Mark Wilson with that 2 there. That indicates he's only been on track for 2 laps since his last stop. So he's already made his pit stop. Of course, you can see Robertson there with the 11. That indicates that he pitted on lap 2, of course, when he went astray. So we'll see how that does shake out. But Lunsford, again, 10 seconds. Oh, it looks like he's coming down this time by, and he's going to be stuck behind McCarthy there. I'm not sure if that's going to slow him up to a tangible level there. but they're going to come in the pits. I think that's Bill Paulucky coming in just behind. And again, the downhill pit lane here at Watkins Glen. Going to go on board. You can see, you can't see his pit stall from here. Now it's coming into view. So this 40 mile an hour, you do have to account for that downhill. And make sure you don't overshoot it. But again, when you have a 10-second lead, you don't have to take chances here. So let's take a look here at what the time is going to be. And then usually around 11 seconds, I think. And yeah, 10-4. It's got a rate on track with what we'd expect. And here he is on his way. Thomas Wolfe still on track. Again, hopping the curbs. Again, they've been dangerous, but we live on a razor's edge here. And there he goes, getting the right side into the dirt there in the carousel, trying to run that tight of a line. Marin Pietri exiting the pits, and Mark Wilson just talked about him. So still waiting on Wolfe and Hurley, and we still have yet to have anything of note in our GT4 class. Just had McCarthy, Cherry, and Paulucky pit. Nobody up in the front. As Todd Marin Pietri has taken it behind the wall as well. So some LMPs dropping like flies here as we have just over 10 minutes left to go in today's race. So this will definitely shake up the point standings here in each class. Andrew Lunsford, of course, with the LMP situation, he is the points leader, but Ryan Robertson effectively would be the points leader if you account for the fact that he has a drop week that will inevitably be built in. But now Ryan Robertson's drop week is going to put him maybe 4th or 5th. So he's going to have about a 5th place effort in there. So if Andrew Lunsford keeps running 1st, 2nd every week, we're going to have a really good championship run down to the last race of the season, which I just talked about earlier as to where it was. And of course, why would I remember absolutely anything here? So it'll actually be at Montreal. Again, a very good drafting track there. So that'll be a good battle there. And of course, Terry Dahl in GT4 was the points leader. But Robert Barros, who is in position to win yet another race, along with the fact that Terry Dahl is back in 10th in class. Again, this will likely be his drop week, presuming that no other issues or attendance faux pas do come into play here. You can see Hurley and Wolfe on screen. Although Hurley did let Wolfe by, he didn't drop back, which is indicative of one of two things. Maybe he thought Wolfe was just driving a little aggressive and he didn't want to be a part of it, or maybe he's learned something that, oh, he's taking this turn this way. Maybe I should do that. And maybe that'll help me out. Sometimes running from behind helps out. Getting into the dirt there, Wolfe. These guys just don't learn. Oh, who was that back of the shot there? There was a GT4 that got into the wall there. Looks as though Hurley is going to make the move into the pits. And Robert Barros, Lightning McQueen, he is going to pull into the pits. Whoa, hard on the binders there was Hurley smoking at the cone there. Makes you wonder if he did get to the pit road speed. Of course, we do have the pit speed limiters, but it's still up to the driver to not over push the limit there at the cone. Let's see if Barros there, did he get into his stall good? Yes, he did. I don't see any backing up there from Hurley, so they will get into their stalls appropriately there. No issues. You can see Terry Dahl trying to get whatever he can out of the race, but he's 40 seconds behind the next position, so it will take another attrition issue there, which we haven't had any attrition in GT4, so that will definitely mean that Terry Dahl's probably going to finish dead last in class here. And I tell you, Wolfe is just scaring me at every single corner here, but he's keeping it on track. Lunsford, you can see there, only 22 seconds back. He's made his pit stop. And we'll pull up another graphic just so you can get a full scope on the situation here. 38 seconds there, the pit lane time. That means from cone to cone, including his pit stop, it was 38 seconds of time elapsed in the pits. Now, he's only 21 seconds behind Lunsford. So what that means is once Wolfe pits, Lunsford should have approximately a 17-second lead on second place. So that is just, that's stupid. And I don't mean stupid in a derogatory way. I mean, that's just, it's that crazy to fathom. Again, 17 seconds. But here he comes into pit road. Ryan Robertson still needs to make his last pit stop here. He is kind of fighting with some GT4 traffic in the form of Scott Husted there. His second time going off track here. At least that time he had the car under control here. He'll have to deal with the 65 of Kevin Kyle here in the penultimate corner here at Watkins Glen. And again, he still needs to make one more stop. He only pit 2 laps early, but that's not going to be enough to... he pit 2 laps into the race, but that's not going to be enough to get him to the end. Unless he's hypermiling. Maybe Ryan Robertson's going to pull off some magic and get another 4 laps, but I highly doubt that, though. Someone like Ryan, he may try it. You never know. I remember he did put in the chat asking admin one day if it would be legal to try and hypermile a whole race and not pit. And I'm pretty sure Les said it's not a rule, but I think they adjusted the fuel loads so that it can't happen. Let's just be honest, Ryan Robertson didn't really have much challenge a few seasons in a row, and he was kind of just trying to find some ways to stay entertained. So hey, let me try and just completely go nuts and break the system here, but I don't think that is going to be plausible. So he should be coming to the pits any time now here. We're 17 laps into what we expect to be a 21-lap race, but again, you never know how the race will end in regards to lap count, because we very well could run 22 laps. It just really depends where Lunsford is in relation to the timer running down to 0. We've seen races that the white flag comes out in the final corner and we have a 300-foot run of the checkers. We've also seen races that basically get 3 minutes extra because we cross the stripe with 1 second and then we get to run a full bonus lap. So anything is plausible here. Let's see if Robertson comes into the pits this time by. Yes, he will. So no magical fuel cells here in the 210. He's going to lock him on up. Maybe, if he's lucky, he'll be able to get maybe 3rd or 4th out of the deal. You can see somebody else coming into the pits behind him. That's going to be Les Turner. Remember, he had that major issue on lap 1. And Marin Pietri back on track, so maybe he just had some connectivity issues, but I definitely saw him out of the iRacing world, at least for 10-15 seconds, but he's back. He's back again. We'll tell a friend. Todd Marin Pietri now in the 4th spot. And now that everything has fizzled out in class, Robert Barros up by... 9.7 seconds over Andrew Humphrey. And now Dennis Griffin in 3rd. He is 6.5 seconds back. So really no active battles. Up there in Pietri again disconnecting from the world. You can see his telemetry is gone on the ticker. So that is what I had noted earlier. So he's definitely having some issues, but he was able to spawn back in. There he goes. So luckily he's in a little bubble here on track. Well, he's gone now because I was just going to focus on him. Yep, he gone. He gone. But he's in a bubble on the track where when he does respawn back in, he's not really affecting anybody. So I guess that's kind of works out. You know, it's better to have that issue when you're by yourself rather than, you know, in the middle of a big pack where everybody is struggling to figure out where you are. So just luck with a bad luck situation, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Though he has been gone for a extreme amount of time now, so if you're gone for too long, iRacing ain't going to put you back in. They're going to give you the network connection error and disconnect you from the session. So he has been gone for a fair amount of time. And if you are Ryan Robertson, you're kind of hoping he stays gone because that'll be an extra position for you on the pylon. But you also never want to lose drivers in that context. But I think he may be gone in that connection issue sequence this time because it has been probably pushing a minute at this point. So bad luck there for Todd Marin Pietri. Memory serves, I think there was a race at where was it? It was at one of the newer tracks that I just cannot remember. He actually had a really good, I think it was Magny Cours a few seasons ago. Todd Marin Pietri led some laps. I think it was in the LMP2 class. So he does have some speed. He's definitely run top 3 on occasion at the right, when the circumstances play out and he's comfortable with the track, but not so much here today at Watkins Glen. And if you join this late and you are someone who does follow the Red Sox Racing League with us, you'll be very surprised to see Ryan Robertson down there in 5th. And then Ross Booth all the way down there. He's at the bottom of the ticker, but 8th in class. Him and Booth and Robertson both had self-inflicted mistakes in the bus stop on lap 1 and 2. Hopping the curbs too aggressively on cold tires, and that put them in the wall and basically started their race upside down, almost literally, from the very beginning, and have been trying to claw back into it. Robertson, he's been trying to close in on Mark Wilson this whole race. He was 30 seconds back. Now you can see he's 11 seconds back, but he's not going to get 11 seconds in what should be one more lap. So an average lap here at Watkins Glen is 1 minute and 40. So we'll probably hit the stripe, I don't know, less than maybe 50 seconds or so. So this will be one more time round here at Watkins Glen. You can see Bill Pawlucky getting as far out of the way as possible there of our race overall leader. And you can see he is now in the boot, and you have Robert Barrows exiting the boot. So we're going to have quite a big delta in between leaders. I think lately we've kind of gotten spoiled. They both crossed the stripe at the same time, but there will be a pretty big delta in between our race leaders here. So see, exiting, or rather in the right-hander, in the heel of the boot here, is Andrew Lunsford for the penultimate time here. Our points leader, who is going to be looking forward to solidifying that points lead here. He's going to come through the penultimate corner here at Watkins Glen International and try to get his first win of the season. So you have Ryan Robertson with the win in race number 2. You have Thomas Wolfe with the win in race number 3. Well, race number 1 rather. And let's see if Andrew Lunsford can get the win in race number 3. He's going to come up in the S's here with an 11+ second lead. Again, no active battles here really on track to speak of at the moment. Trying to get through some GT4 traffic in the form of Cherry and McCarthy. I guess that would be the actual closest live battle on track, 6th and 7th in class. We'll see if they can fight it out here. And a little bit sideways there on the curbs for Lunsford. You don't need to botch it now, man. It's the last lap. You got the lead. Let's just take it down. I believe, other than that one or so lap that Thomas Wolfe led through the pit stop cycle, I'm pretty sure this has been a perfect race for Andrew Lunsford. And again, he was in a really close battle there with Ryan Robertson, but once Robertson spun and once Booth spun, it was effective cruise control for him here at a track he was probably looking forward to the battle and knew it was going to be a tough track. Turned into a cakewalk. So Andrew Lunsford going to exit the boot here. He's going to come through the left-hander, the second to last corner here at the Glen. Now he's going to set himself up here for the final corner at Watkins Glen. And Barney's going to get that checkered flag, and he's going to wave it for Andrew Lunsford. He's going to get the LMP win here for the Red Sox Racing League. Congratulations go to him. Now Robert Barrows, he's still got plenty of time to go. He's headed up through the S's right now. He has now a 10-second lead over Andrew Humphrey, who is second in class here. You can see these GT4s. He can, that same line there, hopping the curb in an LMP3, took 2 guys out of the race, but those GT4s, again with that more rugged suspension and elevated off the ground with the ride heights, they can take those curbs and they can run those aggressive lines here. As Lightning McQueen Kachow, he is speed. He is going to come through and enter the boot here, and he's going to try to get himself win number 2 on the season. I was trying to make a Cars 3 reference, and I watched Cars 3 about 150 times with my 2-year-old, but I cannot remember the character in Cars 3 who beat Lightning McQueen and kind of forced him into retirement. I cannot remember who his name was. But clearly that driver is not here in the class, because Lightning McQueen in his prime is going to come through and exit the boot here, get a 10+ second lead here. And he's going to enter the final left-hand corner here at Watkins Glen. Second win on the season, just in the near future for Robert Barros here. He's going to try to get himself a championship. He is probably going to take the points lead, and he's going to do it in style. Robert Barros is going to go back-to-back here and win at Watkins Glen. Second win in 3 races for the GT4 class. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to Lunsford. Again, these guys do have to make the trip all the way around and make it into their pit stall here. You can't just up and bail. You have to get around on the fuel load that you have with no assistance. That way you evade a penalty here. So while the race is now over, let's go ahead and give you the final rundown of results here today from the Red Sox Racing League at Watkins Glen. With our overall win here on the evening, again, it's going to be none other than Andrew Lunsford by just about 12 seconds over Wolf. Matt Hurley with a third. Mark Wilson gets a good run fourth. Ryan Robertson has to settle for fifth after that incident, with Les Turner in sixth. Then we have Robert Barros winning the race in his class, with Andrew Humphrey in second, Dennis Griffin in third, Kevin Kyle in fourth. Next and final page of results, Scott Husted fifth in class for the GT4s. You have Dwayne McCarthy, Joseph Cherry, Bill Paul Lucky, James Prostel Jr., and Terry Dahl. Remember, he had his incident. And then the stragglers here for LMP. We have Marin Pietri with his connection issues. Booth, who got out of the race with the issue. Rodriguez Mateos, he also had an early issue in the race. And then Brian Irby never took to the grid here this evening. So let's go ahead and start with our post-race show here and get these drivers on and see how their emotions are after winning a solid race here at the Glen. Thought I had the music playing here, but evidently I forgot to play it here. But either way, let's go ahead and pull Andrew Lunsford up into the booth here. All right, Andrew, it started off as a chaotic race. You had some competition. You had Ross Booth, who's a really fast driver. Of course, you had Ryan Robertson, who just wins about everything, and they both botched it. And then after that, it seemed like clean sailing. What was your mindset there when they both went off track?
Keep it on the track, drive 9/10. I knew I had the pace on the rest of the field, so just bring it home.
Now, obviously, the curbs here in these cars that are basically a millimeter off the ground, those curbs are pretty aggressive. Did you have any kind of scares like that, or did you have the intent to run the curbs that aggressively? Like, what do you think caused that for those guys?
Well, yeah. So, if you think you're too close to the wall, you're not. You need to be as far to the right as physically possible. Otherwise, the car will come out from underneath you. So, yes, I was deliberately pushing it as hard as I could, with the exception of the first lap, because you can't do that on cold tires. And actually on the last lap, I had a little bit of a whoopsie there, almost binned it, but we made it.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's going to be interesting here with Ryan Robertson. Of course, his race number 1 is his drop week, so now he has a 5th. So we'll see how that works out in the end of the point standings. But our next race, we head to north of the border there. We head to Mosport. What's your luck? What's your skill at that track, Canadian Tire?
Well, I don't think I've ever done it in an LMP3 before, but I've had good success there in GTP. But, Ryan and Ross are very, very fast, so it'll be a good race.
All right, man. We'll let you go. Congrats on a win here today, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Thank you.
All right, and then going back-to-back, Lightning McQueen, Kachow. Well, first off, who is the guy in Cars 3 who made Lightning McQueen retire that black car? I couldn't remember his name. I was trying to make the reference all race.
Man, I tell you the truth, I can't remember offhand either.
All right, well, we're going to have to look it up afterwards because the car has been succeeding here. So it really, in LMP3, we had 2 of the leaders go off track, but there was really nothing of note that I saw that really made tonight very difficult for you. Was there any real challenges today, or did it seem just to turn into a cakewalk for you?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward night. I good start there at the beginning. We single filed. I got a little bit of a gap, so I didn't have to really watch mirrors or be too defensive. And then lap 3, the car, basically every run I did tonight, lap 3, that it would come alive, and then I was able to get enough gap through that sequence. Gained a little bit more gap through the pit stops, and then it was just kind of cruise, make no mistakes, manage LMP3s. We're coming through the field, and no mistakes.
Yeah, and Terry Dahl, who was the points leader, he got had some issues there with an LMP, so that will hurt him. So should get you the points lead here. And then we head north of the border to Mossport next week, a track that we haven't really been to a technical track here this season. It's been a lot of fast drafting type track. So how you feel heading north of the border next week?
That's another track with oval, stock car background. The trucks have run there in the past, so I've got some stock car laps in there and some GT3, GT4 laps. So I'm pretty comfortable with that track. It's one that I do enjoy, especially the switchback, that whole sequence. There's a lot of time to be had right there if you can get it right.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun track. I know trucks, and it's very fun in the Skippy too. But we'll see what you can do in the GT4 next week, man, and we'll figure out who that guy from Cars was. But congrats, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, he didn't win, so it doesn't really matter.
All right, there you go, man. Talk to you.
Bye.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but there was a black car who took Lightning McQueen, and he took his title away. And took his thunder away. I don't know who it was, and it's really bothering me now. But that is a broadcast here for the Red Sox Racing League on PTR TV. Corey signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.